What is happening, everybody? I hope you're all well, and welcome back to Final Fantasy. Man, I am a little tired today, but still wanted to get a video or two done, so here we are. We are going to try and make it to Boklad, and then I do want to work on those side quests. Very curious what this section of the game is going to have in store for us. Got a lot of players starting to appear on the chessboard now with Waloed coming into the fold. That is a pretty sight.
So this is Eikons.
The land of the gods.
I can see why it's called that.
Than I imagined. I remember being captivated by the story as a child.
Long, long ago, man was overcome by avarice and challenged the gods in a bid to win their power. The final battle took place here, at these falls. Or so the legend goes. If anyone ever manages to plumb those depths, perhaps we'll learn if there's any truth to the tale.
That the gods emerged victorious and punished man for his defiance by visiting upon him two curses.
Dominance and bearers. To tell the truth, I always thought it strange that the dominant and their Eikons were deemed a curse. Back home, the dominant inherited the throne. They were admired and exalted, not spurned. Whenever I got to that part of the story, I always assumed there must be something I'd misunderstood.
You had a lot of storybooks, didn't you? In your room, I mean. When we were young.
The old legends were always my favorites. Epic battles between gods and men. Father encouraged me to read as much as I could. He thought it good for my education.
You really were a boy like any other, weren't you?
Just look at this place. It's enough to make you believe the legends are true.
I know.
There usually is little nuggets of truth in legend stories like that.
Up ahead.
Most folk tales come from
We'll have to
somewhere,
keep our
right?
wits about us.
Kind of like the boogeyman and werewolves and being afraid of the dark. Those tales exist because back at the start of humanity, you had to be very aware of the darkness and get dragged off by
Something wrong?
wolves, lions,
Nothing.
and stay close to the fire.
It's nothing.
We used to have a lot of reasons to be afraid of the dark as a species, and I think tales like that of the gods punishing humans, a great war, where the Eikons came from, there's probably little pieces of truth to that. Not so cut and dry, but there's probably some pieces in there that came from real accountants, became legend over time. The Chinese whispers go down the line, it gets more extravagant.
True, Father. You have surrendered the throne to Olivier.
I have. Emperor Olivier shall rebuild the Holy Empire of Sambrec.
How is he to rule an empire? He is but a boy.
I shall advise him until he comes of age,
Father, please.
or for as long as I am able. The empire we seek to build needs young blood to rule it, and I can think of none better suited to the task.
I still don't understand how this woman has her claws in
There is
everybody
other
like
news,
this.
Dion. Hugo Kupka is dead, and Drake's Fang destroyed. The pillars of the Republic have fallen. Ere long, the Imperial banner shall fly over every city in Storm. And then Valisthea. All shall bow before their Emperor.
Father,
These are the words of a tyrant.
They are the words of a god. The Emperor whom I gladly serve. Great Greeker, made flesh.
The irony in all this is that he could just turn into Bahamut and kill all three of them. A god made flesh.
Return to your camp, Dion, and ready your forces. It is time to show the world the true power of Sanbreque.
I understand loyalty, but when your sword first to your commands, in a situation like this,
I find you much changed. Is this truly the path you wish to tread? Or are these the ambitions of another? Of Ultima, perhaps?
What nonsense is this? I speak my mind, and my mind only. Though I do owe Annabella thanks for reminding me of certain truths regarding the nature of nations, of rulers, and of the divine.
the smug face is killing me.
Trust the words of this traitress. She betrayed her country. She slew her husband.
Indeed.
You have ever been an invaluable servant to Sanbreque, Prince Dion. I trust you will continue to serve your Emperor in the wars to come.
The canker! Silence! Insolent wretch! You will bend the knee. All else is heresy.
Sire, forgive me.
Why the Emperor thinks he's special. Like she smoked her last husband, betrayed him, snaked him out, and killed their kids. Why he thinks he's special is beyond me.
Meeting with silly old men. They're so boring.
Future Emperor of the nation.
I'm hungry, Father. Can't we have luncheon instead?
Ignorance is bliss, I suppose. He reminds me of the people that meet their spouses by them cheating on their previous spouse, and then they think they won't get cheated on themselves. The Emperor in a nutshell.
Count your blessings, Dion. For a base-born child to be chosen by Bahamut is miracle enough. You have risen high on his wings, but you shall rise no higher, lest your impure blood stain the throne.
And what are you rising high on?
You know of my blood.
It's funny that she talks shit about him rising high on the wings of Bahamut when, what is she rising high on again? A body? She certainly isn't offering much else. They're no different.
The Boklad markets are to the north. We just need
When it comes down to brass tacks, Annabella is little more than a common whore, and she's just sweeping her way to the top, basically. She's worth way less than the people she scorns. And the Emperor is just a fucking fool. He's ridiculous. You would think that somebody in such a high seat of power would have the common sense to understand the basics that his son just pointed out to him. That she's a traitoress. She betrayed her old country and her old husband for power. For a couple coins. For a chance at a bigger chair to sit in, even though she already had one. Well, he's special, right? He's the chosen one because he's the Emperor. Ridiculousness. Again, it reminds me of those people where they they meet somebody and they have them cheat on their partner to get with them, and then they're like, no, she or he would never cheat on me. Like, of course they would. You met them like that. You're not special. Nobody's that special. If somebody is willing to cheat or betray or sell out somebody else, they'll do it to you too. I mentioned it in a couple of my other Let's Plays, but you can't change what you are. You can change what you do, but if it's something that you are, it's not going to change. What she is she's a traitor. It's not like she made a mistake, right? She was in a marriage of convenience, it stopped being convenient, and then she married up. It's not something that she did, it's what she is. She's a self-serving, wretched little woman, and she will always be that. She can't change, she's incapable, and she doesn't want to change. The same, I believe, with people who cheat. I know it's a little cliche, the whole once a cheater, always a cheater thing, but it's not been proven true over and over and over again in history. Kind of like what is that old saying? You trust a thief to steal from you, trust a liar to lie to you, trust a snake to be a snake. Like, people will show you who they are, and then they will not change from that. You can reform what you do, but not what you are. There is a difference between what you do and what you are. There's a very big difference. I know I touched on this a lot in my Dragon Age Origins Let's Play with the mages, right? A lot of mages like Anders, they'll make being a mage who they are, but it's not. That's what they are, which is ultimately the thing that causes the difference between mages like Anders and mages like Wynn. Why one is, you know, a scumbag and the other is not and quite nice. It's because of a difference. They're both mages. It's the character that matters.
If the siege breaks, they'll need more than this to stop the Imperial Legion's march on the capital.
It's what's important inside somebody that doesn't change, and what's inside Annabella is black rot. Anybody who would kill her own children and betray her own husband for power just to spawn more kids in a bigger chair is not to be trusted and to only be condemned. The Emperor is a fool. He's so fool to cast away his first son for that. He's been fighting on the front lines, killing himself with the curse out of loyalty. But he can cast that away like it's meaningless. Because he got a new boo thing sitting on the chair next to him. Cool. I'm sure he'll get what's coming to him in the end. He's gonna stick a knife in his back sooner or later. Likely after she makes him kill his firstborn. I'm sure Dion's not long for this world, given everything else I've seen Annabella do during the way that she operates. I'm sure he's probably got like a couple months in him, if there isn't already a plan to get him killed in combat. It wouldn't surprise me if we see Dion in those magic shackles that prevent you from priming at the hands of Odin at some point. Then she'll be sitting in the back with a smug look on her face. And just listen to the way that she talks. You will rise no higher. So much irony in her attitude. Like they ought to put some pretty silks on it, but she's still common trash. Did get an ancient sword out of that. I wonder if that's any good. We'll look to that in a second. going up? We are not. Let's check out that sword. I doubt it's better than what we have, but excuse me, it's very better than what we have. A marked lack of weapons left from the Age of the Fallen could either suggest theirs was a society in which peace prevailed, or one in which those in power were unable to be contested. Those few weapons that do remain are found to be extremely lightweight and nigh indestructible, but unfortunately impossible to duplicate in modern-day forges. Well, we took a buff. It's a cool looking blade. It's a little worse for wear, but again, we just read it's indestructible. It looks burnt. Looks like somebody stuck that in molten lava. Pretty looking sword. I suppose I do have one thing that I wish this game had extra. I've not been blowing a lot of praise at this game, but one thing I do wish it had that it doesn't is I would have loved to have had different armor pieces available to us. I understand you want to maintain the look of Clive, but I feel like they could have certainly, I mean, we already did switch armors twice. They could have certainly been some kind of customization options for like gauntlets, boots, cloak, even purely cosmetic. It would have been nice. There's really only been 3 outfits in the whole game. I do wish we could mess with that a little. But in an otherwise complete package, I can't really hold that grudge against it too much. That's just my RPG brain wishing I could be more custom.
And they're all making for the crystalline dominion.
Because they don't know how to live without the crystal's blessing.
How are we doing on the map here? This is down in Dalamil. I thought we had a side quest somewhere towards here, but it seems like I'm mistaken. Maybe we'll, whenever we get to where we're going, I'll go ahead and start chopping away at those side quests. I want to see what's in store for us here first.
This is where we're supposed to meet Goots, isn't it?
That's right. He said he'd wait for us here after replenishing his supplies. I dare say he'll have finished by now.
Is that my fast travel obelisk?
What do you think, girl?
No, it's a well. Funded by a crystal, of course, because the world has become too lazy to go down to the well itself. That is very pretty. Whatever caused that crater, and a hell of an explosion. Let's go find something to swing our new sword at. Preferably Black Shields or somebody from the Empire.
I must leave for the Dominion. Bloody crews and caravans, scooping up all the best customers.
I would love to test the sharpness on some Black Shields. Still hoping that over time I'm gonna find a side quest for that Justicia. One of the Black Shields work for now.
I hear the brothers found another victim.
Hoping and praying the game is gonna let me take part in that little rebellion.
If our new arrivals had brought any coin with them, we'd be rich.
Alright, Goots, where are you, big guy? There's my obelisk.
Out of my sight, wretch!
Alright, well now we can actually just jump around. Relay. I suppose it would be a good time to go do these side quests actually, so let's go to Northreach. Because we could just zip on back to Boklad now whenever we want.
There's talk.
We haven't been to the Dame in a while. Seems like forever since we were at this place. We couldn't really do much here, we kind of just passed through.
I want to see.
I was expecting more things to go down here.
Oh,
am I gonna do without sweet water and oil of talc? Still no...
Milady, I come bearing gifts.
Gifts? Whatever is the occasion.
Well, you're about to make, how much was this again? 5 million apiece? 10 million apiece, I think.
Oh my. Clive, you really have outdone yourself.
Otto
Be the
asked me
world's
to give it
richest
to you,
madame.
to settle the Hideaway's debt with the Veil, and to compensate you for the time it took us to do so.
You disappoint me, Clive. I thought you might finally be warming to me.
Try harder.
Tell Otto he can keep his baubles. I tried to tell him as much the first time around. The man owes me nothing, nor does the Hideaway. My contribution to the restoration effort was made freely and willingly. It was the least I could do.
You once told me Sid did you a kindness. I'd like to do the same. Please, accept it. For my sake. And for Otto's. For all of us. For all you've done.
It is rather fetching, isn't it? Very well. Otto is lucky to have you, Clive. I doubt anything could ever replace his son. But you and the others at the Hideaway are the closest thing he has to family.
Otto had a son.
Long ago, yes. Sid told me Otto lost him when he was just a boy, and blamed himself for not being able to stop it. I don't know how it happened, whether there was anything he could have done, but it was clear that it weighed heavily on him.
I didn't know.
How could you have? I doubt anyone did.
Lots of hurt
Besides
people in the
Sid,
Hideaway.
I've never met a man more keen to bear his sorrows in stoic silence.
They all have their own
Ill
tales to
habit.
tell.
Given that both have always been surrounded by friends desperate to help them.
I'm beginning to see that.
Not surprising, really. The Hideaway is founded upon the downtrodden and people we've had to liberate. It makes sense that they don't have a lot of tragedy in their lives. It's probably what leans them towards the cause so hard, right? Where's Martha's Rest? She's the other one we owe the gem to, I believe. No, we haven't been here since our bar got messed up. Wonder if it's back on its feet yet. Like the second time it got messed up too, we broke all the tables here as well.
Clive, we weren't expecting you.
I wasn't expecting to be here, but it seems we still owe you a considerable amount of coin for your help with our rebuilding efforts. And though I doubt it's what you were expecting, we were hoping you'd take this as payment.
A star ruby? I can't accept this. It's worth at least twice what you owe me. More if you can find yourself the right buyer.
Think of the difference as interest.
Interest? If word got out I charged that much, no one would ever borrow from me again.
You don't have to tell anybody.
Anyway, why are you the one here asking me about this? I'd have expected Otto. Bit much sending the Lord Marquis out to settle your debts, isn't it? The old goat working himself to death again.
Something like that. Most days I think he's the only reason the Hideaway's still standing.
Same as always, eh? Back when the place was nothing but a twinkle in the eye of a recently retired Lord Commander, word is he was the first one Sid reached out to. Probably knew that without his strong arm and level head, the idea would never get off the ground. Sid may have been the face of the Hideaway, but Otto's always been the backbone. And when Sid passed away, we were all worried that would be the end of it. That Otto would just give up.
His death was hard on everyone. But it must have hit Otto hardest of all.
But he didn't give up, did he? Quite the opposite, in fact. If I recall, he was the one who nominated you as Sid's replacement, and rallied the rest around you. I reckon what he saw in Sid He saw in you too. And don't we all? Doesn't hurt that you're half as stubborn and twice as handsome, neither.
Everybody likes a pretty face.
Keep good company.
I suppose I do. Go will want to know the stones were delivered. If he's still with us.
Well, she was much more eager to take payment. Didn't have to pull her arm for that. No, that's the Delamil Inn. I think Cressida is near here. I think that's what this is. So let's go get our bones for the best boy while we're here. Indeed, Cressida is the village that we found. Let's go get these bones for Torgal. Then we'll go to Delamil and take care of whatever's going on there, and then we'll head on back to the hideaway and wrap everything up at the same time. I'm sure Goat had a hell of a time giving his star ruby to Mistress Karen. Might go back and find him have a spatula in his eye. I've been thinking a lot of the kind of vibes this game gives me in comparison to other games that I've played. I think Witcher 3 is a very fair comparison in terms of tone and level design. Has a little less depth of world than Witcher 3, but I mean, the depth of combat is night and day. Of course, CD Projekt Red didn't even have like a gameplay department until Cyberpunk 2077, but still, it would be unfair to say this game's combat is not better than Witcher 3. But the world and level design reminds me of it very much. I think aside from that, maybe there's some mixes of God of War in here. There are a lot of different games that I like a lot, that I feel in this title. Probably one of the reasons I like it so much. I don't think I'm actually supposed to kill regular antelope. You, however, I do want to take a chunk out of. Boy. I will never not appreciate wind up. It's such a satisfying ability. I'd love to mess with Earthen Fury, but the mastery cost is so high. I don't even know if I'll ever have enough points left over for that, especially if we're going to get more skill trees. We have even more skill trees to come.
Well, it's certainly quiet.
Without me going out of my way to farm ability points.
It would seem like just the place.
I Can't see me being able to master Earth and Fury to put it on my Ramu bar.
I doubt we'll find one bigger than that. You hungry, Torgal?
You know, part of me should probably feel a little bad about this, huh? Well, dinner's served, Torgal. We just wrapped up plenty of bones for you, my boy.
No. Will it be enough, I wonder?
You want it?
I say that answers my question.
Atta boy.
Which means we owe the lawsmen our thanks.
That was fast.
You're just a big puppy, aren't you? A very big puppy.
He is a puppy.
You do know you can take that with you, Torgal. Lady Karen will be relieved to hear you've got your appetite back. Come on, boy.
Perfect. I'm glad we got Torgal sorted out. Alright, now we are heading to all the way back to Dalamil, I think. Yeah, there it is. I think this one was for Blackthorn, correct? Which is huge because that means we're going to get some new recipes, hopefully.
People take notice of wealthy men. Shouldn't be too hard to track down Karen's collector.
They're saying Drake's Fang is gone.
Back again, are you? Any more trouble and you'll be barred for life, however deep your friends are.
Welcome. If you're hoping for a bed, I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere.
My reputation will be ruined! Ruined!
Calm yourself, Lord Ignac, I beg of you, before you do yourself a mischief.
Pardon the intrusion, but...
Out! Get out! I paid for these rooms so I wouldn't be disturbed. Leave me be!
Please, allow me to apologize.
Rough day, huh?
Bishop is going through a difficult time, and he's never been fond of guests arriving unannounced.
Radim! Get rid of the filthy oaf this instant!
Very good.
Yeah, he definitely fits the bill of a rich man.
Would you mind stepping outside for a moment?
I'm sorry if I've caused you any trouble.
That? Oh, no. That's just how his lordship is. Though the morning's events have left him somewhat fractious. He has been dispossessed of his luggage, you see. The thieves also made away with a considerable amount of coin. Coin the innkeeper will soon be keen to collect.
I don't suppose a certain blade was among the stolen items. A single-edged sword. It was purchased from a merchant friend of mine.
Ah, you know Lady Karen? Yes, I'm afraid it was.
Then I'll retrieve Lord Ignac's luggage. But I have one condition.
You have but to state it. You are welcome to anything that is within my power to grant.
I want an audience with Lord Ignac. A few minutes should be enough. Then I'll be on my way.
A condition I would be a fool to refuse. Of course, you shall have your audience.
I don't suppose you saw where the thieves went?
I did not, no. Though some discreet inquiries made on his lordship's behalf mean that I know where you might find them. The bandit's bed
Likely somewhere we've been before.
Coin in Dalamil is said to pass through that disreputable corner of the Valcroy.
And that's where I'm heading.
I shall speak to Lord Ignac in your absence, and arrange for an audience upon your triumphant return.
That will be very kind of you.
Farewell, and best of luck.
Alrighty. Go cleanse the world of some thieves. We have a fast travel to get us there a little quicker. We do not, but it's actually not that far away anyway, so... I think this is the door we want to leave through. Go on, Ambrosia. It's time to stretch your legs.
Ready, go? Faster!
Quick 700-yard dash. Yeah, even with the Blackthorn recipe upgrades, how there's like belt and wristlets, I don't actually think that changes your appearance at all. It would have been nice to have some cosmetic upgrades or changes in the game. At least for me. I like to customize details like that. Makes the character feel more personal to me. We did customize Ambrosia a little. Give her a more Rosarian look. I did take Jill back to her default appearance. I took the Snow White thing away. Purely because it seemed like she was struggling with the curse and rubbing her hand on her wrist a lot. And I didn't know if the new cosmetic appearance was messing with me being able to see some of the effects of things like that, so I took it off. Plus I never touched Torgal or myself. But Ambrosia does have the Rosarian gear. So that was a nice touch. Because we're wearing our father's armor. Get our noble steed on the train too. Howdy, assholes.
We've got company! Come on, lads, let's tear the bastard's head off!
You already know we kill casters first. Forgot he doubles up on that. It's not gonna matter. Goodbye. Steel, silk, and black blood. Where's this fancy blade?
This must be Ignac's luggage.
With the ridiculous unheard of edge.
It seems to be damaged. All right. Let's get it back to Dalamil.
I hear I have you to thank for the return of my effects. What shall I call you, my good man?
Wyvern. Glad to make your acquaintance.
A formidable name indeed. Well, Wyvern, I appear to be in your debt.
Wyvern was our imperial slave name, was it not?
Is that all?
Surprised we still use that.
Moments of your time should suffice, yes.
You're a peculiar fellow, Wyvern. All right, speak.
Master Wyvern was wondering if you could tell him about a certain single-edged sword you recently acquired.
Oh, a true work of art, that one. Karen drove me hard on the price, but I would have sold her Radim here to get my hands on that sword. It was made in the Outer Isles, far beyond the Twins, and is used exclusively by the practitioners of a unique school of swordsmanship. They believe no combat should ever exceed a single strike, and hone their blades to such perfection that none ever does. Each sword is made for that one perfect stroke, and for that stroke only. They crack upon a second blow.
Well, that's no good for a curse breaker.
All sort of beauty to it, really.
But how do they hone such an edge?
Fine question. Why, they use a whetstone, of course. Whetstones, rather. A whole array of them, ranging from the coarse to the fine. 10,000 licks with the sharpening stone, then 10,000 more. But it is the final stone which lends the blade its legendary sharpness.
They were really bad for the blacksmiths.
Quite foreign to this great realm of ours. And that is the key. The secret ingredient. Wyvern, it occurs to me that my little lecture is hardly equal to services rendered.
Wouldn't happen to have the material, would you?
Together with my regards. The very stone of which I spoke. Far rarer among collectors than even the blade itself. And a far more fitting payment.
I concur.
Thank you.
Pardon the intrusion, my lordship. However, it is long past time we prepared ourselves to depart.
So it is. I am locked in bitter competition with a rival collector of curiosities. I am one step ahead of the unscrupulous scoundrel, but he is hard at my heels.
Are there many other collectors out there?
Too many to count, but only one do I consider my nemesis. Lord Byron Rosfield. And is a perennial thorn in my side.
Uncle Byron.
I can imagine.
Farewell, Wyvern. May our paths cross again.
Indeed.
Radim, we mustn't dawdle.
Alright, let's go turn all these goodies in.
I think his lordship is rather taken with you, Master Wyvern. Thank you again for your assistance. Coming, my lordship. I'll be right there.
I'm excited to see what kind of rewards we're going to be packing for that.
Trust Uncle Byron to find such an interesting rival.
Doesn't surprise me. He was tossing coins around in Dalamil like candy. Just brought like 10,000 to the hideaway with him on a random Sunday journey. Offered 5 million for the crystals in the desert. Let the man keep the fee.
Sorry for the wait, but hopefully you'll agree it was worth it.
You learned something about that sword then?
I did better than that.
Sundered whetstone. A slab of rock quarried on the southern continent, its unparalleled hardness makes it perfect for sharpening blades forged from all manner of metals, from bronze to adamantite.
A whetstone? Yes. But not one you'll find anywhere in Valisthea.
No wonder I couldn't get the same finish on the grinding wheel. One hit and all done, eh? Might not be so bad if all you ever fought were duels. Good luck on the battlefield. Your second opponent would be your last, no matter how good you were.
Even so, is there some way it could be used to give the curse breakers an edge?
I think so, yeah. With this whetstone and the right kind of steel, I could probably even make a twin of the blade that rattled me. But there'd be no replacing this little rock once I worn it down to a sliver. I reckon we get a dozen swords from it, if that. Swords that the curse breakers wouldn't know how to wield properly, and that would see them through a single fire piece. Nah, no point trying to copy that thing. Be about as much use as a wax anvil. But finishing our blades with a whetstone this fine, now that's something to consider. And what's finer than fallen masonry, eh? Or more hard-wearing, for that matter. Just imagine it. Good Valisthean steel with an edge as sharp as any found in the Outer Isles. I won't make a copy, nah. I'll make something much better.
That's the spirit.
I'm sure the curse breakers will be delighted. Just don't push yourself too hard.
Don't you worry about me, sunshine. I've been working day and night since I was half your age, and I'll still be here when you're long gone. Hey, thanks, Clive. I mean it. I owe you one. August too. It's good to know someone's looking out for me.
You'll be happy to hear you said that.
And I'll see that my debt to you's paid. First new blade I make's got your name on it.
Unity is
Find me when
important.
you've got the materials.
All right. I will.
When we have the materials, you say? Well, we did a bunch of hunting. Perhaps we already do. Excalibur design draft. Oh my. A diagram detailing the steps to forge a sword to rival that of a legendary king. Excalibur recipe unlocked. What on earth do I need for Excalibur, Blackthorn?
What do you need? What do you want?
I already have everything I need. Isn't that beautiful? We needed Grimalkinhide, Bomb Ember, and Scarlet Eye, and I already have it all. And it is a buff over our current sword. Yes, please.
Last you a
Give.
good while. And?
Let us look at this pretty looking thing. Oh yeah. That would be the one. Very happy things went in the order they did now, actually, because I already had the materials I needed. Made it nice and fast.
I noticed you and Torgal had gone off somewhere. Take him for a walk, did you?
You could say that.
Look at that sword, man. Beautiful.
So, Molly's leftovers weren't good enough, eh? That'll teach me for treating you like you're still a pup. All right, no need to shout. Now we know what you're after, I can see about getting some in.
Speaking of which, I brought one for later. Can I leave it with you?
No, we brought you 5 for later. Eating good for a couple days, Torgal.
You can, eh? I'm nice like that. In return, you can thank Tomes for me. The bloody know-it-all.
I was just on my way to see him.
You're eating good, Torgal. Like a king. I might have a slight obsession with the sword. I'm like staring at it as I walk around.
Ah, Clive. Were you able to locate your quarry?
We were indeed, Lawsman. You pointed us in exactly the right direction. And Torgal's been a very happy hound ever since.
Very good, very good.
Lady Karen sends her thanks, by the way, for your part in solving the mystery.
Ah. But that reminds me. After your last visit, I found myself pondering Torgal's talents.
Oh?
Do you recall our conversation concerning Lady Jill's role in Torgal's transformation?
About how she somehow woke the power within him.
Precisely that. A reasonable conclusion, I thought, but one which raised certain questions in my mind. You see, the Fenrir of legend served Shiva and Shiva alone, and while the powers attributed to him are certainly impressive, the records imply they are somewhat different in nature to those you described Torgal as having used.
What are you suggesting?
That Torgal may be the beneficiary of more than one Eikon's power. Consider that in addition to Lady Jill, he has served as a loyal companion to you, your brother, and even the late Cid. In short, the Eikons hitherto near at hand, or should I say at paw, have been diverse and plenty, and that number has only grown as the realm's dominance have fallen to your sword. One can but speculate as to how all of this has affected Torgal.
He has seemed more fierce of late.
And if I am not mistaken, he will grow fiercer still. We are fortunate indeed to be able to count him amongst our allies and not our adversaries.
Oh. He's more than an ally. He's a friend.
Torgal is such a cool beast. Such a cool animal. Every time I see him, I just want a wolf. Cabala's fangs, so that increase Torgal's attack potency. And he's a very cool creature. The fact that he's getting passive buffs from all the Eikons around him too. Very cool. And there he is. Not that waiting for a bone. And last but not least, we gotta go about the rubies we turned into everybody. See if he survived the lashing.
Mid told me she was building a ship.
How's it going, Goat?
Goat. Still alive, I see. So Lady Karen accepted the ruby.
Ah, about that. I tried my best, but she was just too stubborn to take it. She threw it right back in my face, in fact, and told me I could stick my stupid stone where the sun don't shine.
Karen refused payment.
I hope it wasn't something I said.
I'm sure you were as tactful as ever. Let me see what I can do.
Oh, wonderful. I hope you have better luck than I did.
If anything, I'm sure she might have been offended at the prospect that she would even require payment for all she does.
Oh, I wasn't expecting you back so soon.
A light from the heavens, the goddess Griga teaches us that to walk with the wretched is an act of greater good. If we are to accept this truth, then one could not rightly call he who follows this path an outlaw, a humble servant.
All yours. Best of luck out
I
there.
think those
Sid.
cleric medallions boost the potency of potions, so we won't be switching to that. I'm getting way too many ability buffs to really care about defense. That's what parries and dodges are for. And Will of the Wicks. I'm not taking much in the way of damage now that I have Will of the Wicks constantly.
Lady Karen, Goat tells me you weren't happy with our offer. Would you prefer the debt was repaid in coin?
What debt? I don't recall lending any of you like me hard-earned gil. I may have tossed a talent or two in the Hideaway's coffers, but those were donations, and you can hardly call it charity if you go asking for it back.
Yeah, I told you that was likely what she was offended by.
But one good turn deserves another. And our circumstances have changed. Surely you wouldn't shun the gratitude of a pauper who happened to have become a prince.
Oh, so you're a prince now, are you? Fine. But I'm selling it and taking what I'm owed, then you're getting the rest whether you like it or not.
That seems fair. Let's actually read what a star ruby is. One of 3 brilliant gemstones acquired and set aside by Sid for a rainy day. Otto now deems that day to have arrived, and wishes to use the rubies to pay off 3 outstanding debts to Lady Karen, Martha of Martha's Rest, and Isabel of the Vale.
Where'd you even get this? A decent trader might nab 1,000 talents for a star ruby. A canny one, meanwhile, might claim it were nicked from the belt of Sid the Outlaw himself and ask twice as much. Might be I already have a buyer in mind. Might be you even know her. A fine continental maid whose beauty's only eclipsed by a guile in commerce. You wouldn't mind, would you?
Not at all. Just be sure to tell her that it's always a pleasure doing business.
I hear you ended up delivering all 3 stones. Thanks to this lump. I sometimes wonder what I pay you for.
Speaking of which, I still haven't been paid last month's wages.
Oh, so you remember what's owed to you then? Get your ass behind that disc of yours and don't get up before those ledgers are square. Right away.
The audacity to ask for your own paycheck. Yikes.
I've seen that before.
You have, yeah. Plenty of times. It was the only goblet Sid ever used, either out of habit or because the filthy sod couldn't be bothered to find a clean one.
I knew so little about him.
Like most people.
Martha and the Dame both seem to have fond memories of him.
Huh. I bet they do.
How long did you know Sid before he...
Before he died? 20 summers, give or take. Back in the day, I was a purser on a trade ship, which is where I met him. He bought passage to... I forget where. And having nothing better to do on the long nights, we set up drinking island rum till the morning bell dragged me back to my duties. Quit my post not long after that. On account of making a fine maiden's belly fat. But me and Sid stayed close, promising we'd one day sail the seas again. That was before fate stepped in and said she was having none of it. The magic woke inside my son soon after his first name day, and there was no hiding his knack.
Couldn't you and your family have...
My family were the ones who summoned the constable, wanted the monster taken away. I couldn't turn my back on him, forget what I felt, and I couldn't for the life of me understand how they could. Luckily, Sid was of the same mind as me. It was him who stood beside me when all I wanted was to tear the whole world down. Him who cried for me when I had no tears left of my own. Him who swore he'd do everything he could to stop it from happening again. And he was true to his word, too. Left the Royal Army once and for all. His ranks, his ribbons, gone. Just like that. Threw away everything he had. All to right a wrong that no one else had the courage to face. I knew then I'd follow that man to the ends of the earth.
The insanity of turning in your own child. It's the origins of the place, huh?
For his own good, was Sid. Saw the world for what it really was, while the rest of us were content to go along with the lie we were shown. And it can't have been easy, bearing that burden alone. But he didn't let it stop him. He never lost faith in what he believed was right. And that gave us faith in him. Faith he'd steer us true. So I swore to myself that I'd always be right behind him, ready to catch the stubborn sod, if ever he should fall. But I couldn't even do that. Ignore me, just the ramblings.
That's not your fault. Everything that happened that led to Sid's dying was way above his pay grade.
This is Sid's handwriting. Dear Otto.
I may be drunk, but I wanted you to know this place would be fucked without you. Love you, you grumpy old sod.
Sounds like Sid.
This note.
What about it?
Sid was right. Without you, we'd all be lost.
Lost wasn't the word he used.
He should have bloody well said so then. Just once. Before he went. But then, why would he? Him, or anyone? I'd only have told him to piss off. You're wrong, though. Both of you. It was never just me keeping the hideaway afloat. It was all of us. I just shoved people in the right direction, and I barely seem to be able to do that anymore.
I think you're managing all right. The finger counting is crazy.
Go with the helm.
Well, maybe I've got a few more years left in me.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
I'm going to hold you to that, Otto.
Before you go, Sid would have wanted you to have this.
But that's...
This'll do me just fine. Thanks for the ray of sunshine. I'll see if I can't pay you back.
This quest was a nice touch.
What do you have?
I appreciated this one. Man, this episode went on for a while. Apologies for that. Never even found really an opportunity to split. I'm sure that cup went into our little chamber section.
Told me she was
We've been going for over an hour, so this is going to be the point where we wrap this one up. Thank you for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, leave a like and a comment. If you want to support the cause and help improve the channel, as always, there's a tip link in the description below, along with my socials. I now have a Blue Sky account, so if you use Twitter or Blue Sky, feel free to go check it out, drop me a follow. You'll get my updates on when things go live, my opinions on movies, TV shows I watch, or just general happenings in the world. Otherwise, stay tuned, and I'll see you soon with more Final Fantasy. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.